Hello everybody, I've been on holiday for a week or so this is the first video I've made for about that long. Today I want to talk about junior guitars and why I avoid them and why I push people away from them when they ask about them. On occasion, kids or junior guitars come across my bench to work on, to set up, and they are a pain. They're not. I know very few that are made well, especially the child-sized guitars. They're poorly intonated, and the strings are so close together that no child is going to be able to play chords or even press the strings down. So I always encourage parents to go start their children on ukuleles. I started on a ukulele at 3 years old, and then at 6 years old I started playing the cello, and at 12 years old I stole my mom's Yamaha and taught myself how to play that. It seemed like a natural progression, at least from the ukulele to the guitar. Because ukulele chord shapes are, the bottom 4 strings of a guitar basically, although it's tuned differently. So you can figure out guitar chords very, very easily if you know a few ukulele chords. Once in a while I come across one that's okay. Here's an Ibanez junior guitar. It's I think a half-size dreadnought perhaps. It's not too bad, but still the chords are very close together, and I think it would be really hard for a child to play something like this. And this is one of the better made ones I've come across. Usually this one is reasonable quality, but usually with child size or junior guitars, they use cheap parts, so they use something other than rosewood, some sort of hardwood painted black usually. They usually put brass frets on them or cheap frets, and they usually have the worst parts and horrible strings, and kids don't play them. They give up, and I don't blame them. A lot of times they have horrendous action. This one I've set up, so this would be alright for, I don't know, say an 8-9 year old perhaps. But anyone younger than that, I wouldn't recommend one of the little guitars. I would recommend a ukulele, and then moving up to guitar. Sometimes I come across interesting 3/4 size guitars, which are not really child guitars or children's guitars. This one, for instance, is a 3/4 size scale. I think it's a 38-inch. So it's basically very similar to a classical string length, and the body is sort of a small concert or double O perhaps size. It's not quite a parlor, but it's getting towards a double O size guitar. And these are not that different from full-size guitars. The string length is a little bit shorter, but there's still plenty of room on the fretboard to make your chord shapes. Across the width of the fretboard, I think it's 1 3/4 inch still. So there's not a lot of difference between one of these and a full-size acoustic. And sometimes just the smaller body and the smaller scale length is good for a female player. Not to sound sexist, but a lot of women do like these size guitars. They're easier to get around. They're much shorter distance to cuddle it, because you sort of cuddle a guitar to play it, don't you? Or just smaller sized adults. People that are slight in frame often go for one of these. So no, I don't really sell these as junior guitars. I sell them to people who are just looking for a smaller, that struggle to get around a dreadnought or a full-size concert guitar. And these you can set up to play just fine. They play just like any acoustic guitar. This one has a nice pickup system made by JB Player. So occasionally, you know, some of the smaller body guitars, shorter scale length, because you can get scale lengths between 38 and 41 inch. The typical range. And you know, just finding a body size and a scale length to match your frame as an adult player or a teenage player is ideal. But the smaller the children's size guitars, I always find problematic. I found, or actually I inherited, one of those fairy Luna guitars. I don't know if you've seen them. I don't have it anymore, but it's a child-sized guitar made by Luna, which is, you know, a fairly good guitar company. I mean, it's those guitars are designed and built by women supposedly, and have a female aesthetic. Although I know a lot of guys that like them. And even that child guitar, even made by a good company, it was hard to play. It was really hard to set up and get right, and the string spacing was crowded. And you know, I would tell somebody to buy a ukulele, seriously, rather than buy a guitar, even that nice. Sometimes people will get these sort of things, these little mini dreadnoughts, I suppose you could call them, and use them as travel guitars, and that's fine. I suppose it would work. I'm not sure this is quite ideal for traveling. I don't think you can get it in a backpack, so you're still going to have to buy, you know, a specialized case for it, and you know, put it in your overhead luggage on a plane. And they make you know, slender built travel guitars, so I don't think there's much point buying one of these as a travel guitar if you're going overseas or on a plane ride. I mean this is, yeah, for camping, for throwing in the back of the Subaru and going up to the mountains. Sure, I think this would work fine as a campfire type of guitar. But you know, I never have a problem doing that with a regular size or a, you know, nice classical guitar, size guitar either. So you know, there's just not a whole lot, for me, there's not a whole lot of market in junior guitars, especially child-sized guitars. I find them detrimental to the learning process. I think it's much better to get yourself a good, well set up ukulele and have your kids start on that, and get comfortable with the chords, pressing the strings down, strumming technique, and then somewhere along the line introducing you know, a smaller concert guitar or a parlor guitar or something like that as they become proficient. But starting them on one of those kid-sized guitars that you get from Walmart, I don't recommend it at all. I've never ever come across, and I've had a few, one that's well made and plays well. They're all, just by design, difficult to play. So that's my take on it. Leave comments below if you feel differently. You know, I'm sure that somebody will point out fantastic made kids guitar. Perhaps they're out there. I just have never seen one. I always push kids towards ukuleles rather than these kids guitars, because I think they're more likely to stay with it and they're more likely to progress. See you next time.